What is going on, my beautiful family? You already know who it is. It's your boy Charlie Mack, and we are at Barbershop Talk. And today, Barbershop Talk, this is where we can talk about anything and won't get fired. We can express how we feel. Y'all can give y'all perspective, and then we can mash it together. Take the meat and leave the bones. Today, I got my little broski, Chris.
Yes.
Wait. Professor Chris. What we're going to talk about today is the Kevin Gates and LeBron situation. I'm going to give my take. He going to give his take. If y'all are available, y'all get y'all take. I promise y'all ain't going to get in trouble. So, hey, what were you saying
So,
about the LeBron
so
situation?
I was saying that, you know what I mean? I feel like Kevin Gates was totally uncalled for in his commentary about LeBron James' wife. If anybody know anything about LeBron, he's been one of the most faithful, most established athletes in the world. A 20-year career, you never heard him cheating. You never heard him having kids outside of his marriage. You never heard him having any of those things. So to even shed negative light in the middle of the playoffs, I feel like Kevin Gates was wrong, man. What you think?
Well, first, that's a great response and a great outlook and perspective of it because I feel the exact same way. But let me ask you this first. What do you think Kevin Gates got going on right now?
I think he got the new relationship with Brittany Rader. You know what I mean? His new girlfriend. And that's about it. He ain't dropped no music. He ain't in no movies. I don't, you know.
No, when I say what do you think he got going on, I'm talking about deeper than the surface. Because everything out here is really deeper than the surface. And I think it's more of a spiritual thing. You feel me? Because at this point on the surface it look like a narcissistic type vibe. But I think he was going through a lot spiritually because he even called himself the Lamb of God. And I'm like, oh man, that right there could make you think you a God yourself. You know what I mean? Not God's image, but a God yourself. So I think a lot of stuff that he's going through right now is spiritual based, but ultimately, he's rich. So in society standards, it's okay for him to do anything, right? Because that's how society looks at a lot of masculinity. If you have a certain amount of money, you should be able to do anything. I personally don't believe it, but that's what it makes sense in my brain. But who am I? I ain't nobody. I ain't know.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know how deep it was. I don't know how deep it really was though. I feel like he was being honest, like Kevin Gates always. If it's one thing Kevin Gates, I feel like been known for in his career is keeping it 100. You know what I mean? Keeping it real, sharing. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? He ain't never been one to sort of hold his tongue. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? I think it was one of those situations where he watching the game, he seeing a look on Savannah face. He didn't like it, and he felt like white women would look at LeBron James.
All right. That's a good point. But I'm about to get 100 then, because I can see what he probably saying. He's saying, I seen in one of his interviews where he say, "Why she looking at him like that?" But when a white girls come in, they get on their knees and worship him like a god. But the whole thing you got to understand is she been with him from the start, meaning she had to probably deal with this shit behind closed doors that nobody has a clue about, and that's why she looking at him because every time his presence get in that room, she already knows groupie central. So what is a wife supposed to do? She be quiet. She be quiet. But if somebody love you, they ain't just gonna be, oh, do whatever you want. That's just my opinion. I love Gates. I listen to his music, but I do have to split the entertainment versus reality with him because sometimes it just sounds like he be going through emotional trauma, and this is how he dealing with it by expressing himself, which is nothing wrong with. But reality is reality, though. You can't contradict yourself. You feel me?
Well, I feel like it is something wrong with it because I feel like he breaking the code. Like you don't talk about another man's wife.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And relationship. You know what I mean? That's why I say I feel like he out of line. You know what I mean? Sometimes you know what I mean. If, you know the age of saying if you ain't got nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It was just one of those situations. I feel like come on, Kevin, that's LeBron. You know what I mean?
Right,
He
right.
looking like Stephen A. out there a little bit.
Oh, leave Stephen there alone, because Stephen was about to get in his ass. I ain't gonna lie to you. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Kevin Gates, he is an entertainer. So if he wasn't saying half of the stuff he was saying, what we had to talk about? Can I get an amen? What else you want to talk about, broski? Do y'all have anything y'all want to talk about?
Drop it in the chat.
Drop it in the chat. So what about, let's talk about stepfather, stepmom relationships. How do you think that is not ideal, but do you think it's feasible in nowadays society to be able to raise a child?
I think it's more common in nowadays society because of so many broken homes. And I think what really, you know what I mean, affects that relationship is the sort of status of the parents. You know what I mean? Are the parents healed from the trauma that they've been through? Are the can they demonstrate the discipline that they trying to, you know, teach the children? You know what I mean? I think I think it's definitely needed. You know what I mean? I think it's good when, you know what I mean, so a man or a woman can come in and fill that gap and be the parent when parenting is needed for sure.
Absolutely. I agree. My piggyback or take on it is if you go in any relationship knowing that you don't have a child by a person, just know that kid is always going to be the priority and that mother or father is going to make the final decision. So, knowing that, you either go in there with an open communication and let them know how you want the household ran to make sure that they are in alignment with your values and your standards in the relationship so you can be the best you, or you're going to have to walk away and be friends and let God do the rest. You feel me?
For some reason, that made me think about it's a TV show called Power, and you saw that in relationship with Tommy and I forgot.
Ghost?
No, not Tommy and Ghost. Tommy and Lala. What was Lala's name on Power?
Hey,
Keisha.
Lala.
I think it was Keisha.
Oh, yeah, Keith.
And she had the loyalty to her child. That's why she was gonna snitch on them at the end because she was afraid they was gonna take her child away. And if she didn't snitch on Tommy
Mm,
and Ghost, then she wasn't gonna make it. And that makes me think about, like, you know what I mean. As much as she wanted to be with Tommy, she wasn't gonna let, you know what I mean, even, you know what I mean, she wasn't gonna let her child, take priority. I mean, not take priority over Tommy's situation. Um,
mm. See, I ain't lying to y'all,
so
man.
yeah,
And that's just from an experienced man who been through a relationship with stepkids. Love them to death, but at the end of the day, it's so much stuff that goes deeper than the surface of, oh, you're what? My mom. So at the end of the day, you got to always take that into account, get out your feelings, and love is sacrificing self for the other's well-being, and that's what I'm learning. So hope that's free game right there. You feel me? Um, what what else y'all want to talk about? Just drop it down. Thank you so much. I love your support. I love your support. What else do you want to talk about? Just talk to me. So, ladies, the dating scene is crazy out here, right? Y'all know that. Fellas, y'all know the same thing. How do y'all feel about having sex before really getting to know a person? Ooh, I know it sounds cliche, but talk to me, man. Broski, how you feel?
I think, you know what I mean. I think once you introduce sex into a relationship, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. So I think, and it can affect, I mean, that can become the main focus of the relationship. And I think to avoid that, you want to spend as much time as possible really getting to know the person instead of jumping straight into that. Because once that happens, that, it's kind of like it hijacks the relationship, in my opinion.
Absolutely. No, that's 100% to me, and it's easier said than done. But what I've learned in life is that if you have sex with the person, well, I know as a man, if you have sex with a female and you are not really into her, after that nut, you are not going to have that interest in her, right? I'm sorry, after that cut, you are not going to have the interest in her, and it's not going to build any intimacy. So, my thing is get to know a person, but you got to get to know yourself first, meaning know what you like, know what your standard is, know what your structure of life is, and see if a female can fit that mold. Don't just chase that big booty, because at the end of the day, that big booty can drive you crazy. And the same thing, female, for the females. Don't just go for the men who you think got money. Men, we are very, very deceptive. And so are y'all. But at the end of the day, get to know a person for who they are. And that's love. Are they kind? Um, are they ambitious? Are they authentic? Can they be vulnerable enough to tell you who they are? That's what you need to be looking for. Don't look to see what type of car they driving, because it can be repo next month and you're going to be helping him. You understand? I'm long drawn out. Bro, you got something to say?
No, I think you hit it on the head. I think the thing that's coming to mind to me when they say moments of pleasure can lead to lifetime of pain.
Yeesh.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't, manage
Hey,
your
shout out to
decisions,
my first baby mama.
if you don't manage
That's
your
real
own,
shit.
situation properly. That's all I
That's real shit. That's real shit. What else you want to talk about?
got. What you think about Ant-Man and LeBron James in the playoffs? Do
Hey,
you
I
think
think
the Timberwolves can knock out the Lakers?
LeBron should definitely get active of the year, hands down. Used to be one of my favorite players, but he know how to play that system, and this is his league. But Ant Man, he brings that '90s feel to me, man. He still got that aggression, that's still got that hunger. So, shout out to Ant Man. I hope they blow their ass out. I'm not even gonna lie to you. What y'all think? What you think?
I think he gonna give him a run for his money. I think he's so athletic. I don't think the Lakers got anybody that can truly guard him for 48 minutes. And so I think I can see him averaging 30, 35 points a game. You know what I mean? For the series, which I think they're gonna need in order to knock off the Lakers, because I don't see LeBron having two bad games in a row in the playoffs. He didn't score at all in the first quarter last game.
Man, his flop game is one dimensional. You
Mm.
can't beat it, man. Shout out to him. He did that Chris Brown joint. I say my man's still athletic. I ain't even gonna lie to you, man.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful day out here, y'all.
It is.
We in the Georgia area, man, the suburbs. Shout out, we came all the way from Chicago. So, man, you don't even know the feeling to hang out with the broski, ear chopping up with my peoples.
We
It's a
out there.
beautiful thing.
That's up.
What else y'all want to talk about? Let's talk about it. So, what do you think the number one thing in the black community that holds us back from success?
That's a tough one.
Oh man, well let's talk about it. This
I
barbershop
think
talk.
communication, man. I
Hmm.
think communication. I think so many people have not been able to have healthy relationships, so they haven't learned how to develop healthy relationships.
All right, so we're gonna go back over the topic one more time. I asked my broski, what is the number one? What do he think is one of the number one things that hold us as black people back from success? That's deep. Y'all can chime in with your insight also.
I think it's communication, man. I think because in relationship building, um, I think too many of us have had damaged relationships, toxic relationships that have disrupted our ability to develop healthy connections with people,
Mm.
and be vulnerable and build, you know what I mean, community,
Hey, show your face, cause you was
and
putting that
build
word
and
out
like
there.
build community. So I think all those things really um, stop the black community from being successful.
Mm. Now y'all know me. If you don't know me, I'm super deep. So my answer is, I think it was a great answer. I feel like we definitely have to break a generational curse that we have, um, because it caused division, man, from dark skin to light skin. Look, we are all black. If I go to jail, they gonna put African American on me. So I understand that. But for my people, I think once we divide each other, and then we have to love everybody. I know the slavery history thing. Look, I stand for Jesus. So at the end of the day, I can't hate nobody. You feel me? And it's all about forgiveness and moving forward. We can't live in the past. So it starts with helping ourselves, then helping our neighbors. You feel me? Helping ourselves, then helping our neighbors. I know it sounds so easy, but so many times we see a person and we just don't like them for no reason. And we got to ask ourselves, what is that? So it starts with loving ourselves, then loving our neighbors. And then one by one, we can put our gifts together and then we can build within the community. What you think, broski?
I think you're right. I think that loving the neighbor allows you to build that community that you need,
Absolutely.
and that family. So all those things are like important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you guys got any questions? Drop it right now. You feel me? I appreciate the support out there. Uh, please press subscribe. We're gonna keep doing this on a regular. You feel me? Because we got a lot to talk about, and we ain't gonna get in trouble about it. All right, let's see what else. What else? So, what do you think about love languages? How do you guys feel about love language? Do you think it's a cliche, or do you think these are things that make a person need to feel love? Because for me, I think if you know your love language, it's so easy to communicate to your partner. Look, I'm a grinder, but the little things that you do, those acts of service, man, those make me feel so loved, and they won't even know. You see what I'm saying? So I think they are very vital for a real relationship. But you got to know you ought to be loved and how to be loved.
Hmm. Yeah, I think when both people in a relationship know the love language and can live out that love language,
Hmm.
it just produces a sort of connection that, you know what I mean, gives the relationship a really long,
Long
there's
lasting.
a long lasting opportunity.
I love it. I love it. So, what we get from that message, find out your love language. And if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be acts of service, quality time, physical touch, gifts, and it's one more. It's one more.
Is it?
Affirmation. Yeah.
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. Tell that girl you love her. You love what she do. You love when she wipe your butt. You know what I mean? No daddy, but what else y'all want to talk about though? Let me see. Okay. What about parenting? How do you think when you're in a relationship is the role supposed to go? How is the role supposed to go in parenting? You know, I'm a little experienced, so I think anything you got a little experience in, you can
Okay, yeah.
express
Well,
it a little bit more.
let it out. Let it out.
Well, me personally, I ain't nobody, but at the end of the day, we going to jump right into it. I think we're going to talk about masculinity and femininity because this is going to intertwine with my answer. And I feel like there is no such thing that one gender is supposed to have one energy. God didn't make it that way, right? You have to have both energies, meaning you're supposed to have masculine energy, be able to protect, provide, have ambition, be a go-getter to do. You also supposed to have feminine energy, right? Which means should be able to nurture, be able to tell somebody you love them, give somebody a hug, smile at somebody. These are all feminine energy. It doesn't make you um, weak or soft in any way. So that's the first thing I had to say. So with that being said, if you have a female who has more masculine energy and a male who has more feminine energy, you guys have to identify that. And when you identify that, what's going to happen is y'all going to know who handles what, whose responsibility is what. You see what I'm saying? And once you understand whose responsibility is what, all you got to do is get up and do what you're supposed to do, and guess what happens? Stuff gets done, results get seen. And at the end of the day, I feel like you guys have to work as a team, take the ego out, just get to know each other, get to know yourself, so you guys can be able to work as a team. Because when you're together, this is no competition. I'm tired of people being in competitive stages when we need each other to be able to grow. You understand? When you're in a relationship, you need each other to grow. The world don't care about y'all. The world don't care about your problems. So at the end of the day, y'all work as a team, and that means mutual respect. No man is above a woman as far as equality as a human being. You understand? But there are roles, and if a man don't have a vision, you can't expect a woman to follow you because it's going to be two blind mice. Oh, my mom. You feel me? What you feel about
Nah,
that,
you
bro?
just killed that. I
Y'all
think
like
you
that
hit
shit?
it. I think you
That
hit it
was the spirit.
on the head. The only thing I would add to it, I think when it comes to parenting, I think it should be a co-created experience. So
Ooh,
the parents should be working together to develop the vision for the child. Right.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? The things it wants us to do, to sort of character it wants it to have, the child to have, and the time that's gonna be spent, on investing in a child. And I think that relationship that the parents demonstrate, the way they treat each other, is what serves as a model for the rest of the kids. You know what I mean? That serves as a
Thank
model
you
for the
guys
kids to
for y'all
follow.
likes. I
Most
appreciate it. We
definitely,
appreciate it because we just speaking from our soul. At the end of
yeah.
the day, we thank y'all for y'all support. Uh, y'all drop something if y'all want us to chop it up because we do this. You feel me? But what were you saying, broski?
That was it.
All right, so I got an 11-year-old. Now he's in his transition stage from mama's boy to start want to get, masculine, start to want to learn how to play sports and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, it's my job as a father to make it a priority to structure his schedule for him to know how he's supposed to be able to have these habits by the time he's 18. What y'all think about that? It's hard because it's like I got to pull his teeth, but he knows he needs to do what he needs to do. But at the end of the day, he's still 11. So I'm like, he's so cute. But what should I do? What you think I should do, broski?
I think just continue to be consistent, and supportive. You know what I mean, and be encouraging to him as he's, learning what it's like to be, a boy turning into a man, as he's going through this process of learning.
Puberty.
You know what I mean? Of really learning himself. You know what I mean? I think he needs you to be there, right there, someone he can trust, someone you can call on to confide in for advice and information. So just continue to be consistent.
Absolutely. What y'all think I should do, man? Should I push them a little bit harder, or should I just fall back and let everything fall in place? I need to know, guys. I need to know. Yes, it's a beautiful freaking day. Thank you, Lord, for another day in paradise.
Yep.
I hope everybody is having an awesome day. Drop a comment of what y'all want to talk about, and we can talk about it. We got 5 more minutes left, and we're going to be out for today, but we're going to do this on a regular. And I appreciate all y'all
So
support.
so 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 how do you
Damn, he
know?
just cut me off, but yes, sir.
Yeah. So I got one last question. How do you know she's the one?
Who?
When a man finds a woman, how do
Oh,
you know she's
now
the
you
one?
know I'm about to get deep. It already came to me because from my experience, you're going to have to test the female. And that's one of the things that I think us men are scared to do. I think we feel like we have to prove something to the female. And some cases that's true to a certain extent as far as if you're really interested in her. But at the end of the day, we have highs and lows in life. So if she's not going to be with you in those lows and you're not able to be vulnerable enough to her, I don't think y'all going to have a real intimacy. It's going to be something superficial. That's just me. What y'all think?
Mm.
What you think?
I think I think I think you'll know when it's somebody that you feel like you can communicate with, you can talk to, and share some of the most difficult aspects of your experiences. I think it's
Hmm.
somebody that you feel as though you know you can build with them, and you've been building, and there's a demonstration of ability to build with that person.
So
Um,
history, vulnerability,
ability, communication,
open communication,
communication.
and what would you classify as open communication?
I think I would classify that as exchange of feelings. Honest
Mm.
exchange of feelings.
Do you hear that? Do you hear? I think he hit that right on the head. In order to have a successful relationship, one, it has to be mutual respect, meaning you care for what your partner say, and your partner cares for what you say, or it's going to be off, right? And what did you say after that?
And it has to have an honest exchange of feelings.
Honest, meaning you have to be vulnerable, meaning you don't have to be because I'm a man, I can't tell you when I'm sad or when I'm down, or no, you have to be, babe, I'm going through this right now. Boom, boom, boom. And she has to be support. Okay, this is how we're going to deal with it. Boom, boom, boom. And that's what I call love. So at the end of the day, that was a good mention. That was a
Mm-hmm.
good mention. So I think you'll find a person when y'all both are humble enough to not just look for what I can do for you, but what can we do for each other? And I'm willing to do what I need to do in order for us to grow. Because it's not like no baby boy Jody, I'm taking care of you. It's more of, look, you a king, I'm a queen, but we're going to start right here. This is where God got us. And then you have to have that vision, and she's going to keep you focused on that vision. And you're going to have to stay true to her. That's what I've learned. Y'all drop a comment. What y'all think? What else would y'all like to know about as far as my insight? That's how I feel. Thanks, Melissa. See, I'm not the only one. Look, my bad. They call me crazy sometimes, and I be like, "Nah, I'm just expressive." You feel me? So at the end of the day, thank you, Melissa, because now I feel like I can talk some more. You feel me? We are not the only ones. What y'all feel about mental health out here? Come on, it's gonna get deep, man. How do you think we should be able to approach mental health?
I think we should be able to approach mental health like it's, a part of life. You know what I mean? I think everybody goes through something. You know what I mean? And I think the ability to cope with what you're going through has a huge impact on what your mental health is going to look like. If you have negative coping mechanism,
Mm,
I think you're most likely
that's
to
my
have
little
negative,
broski.
sort of consequences. I think, but if there's, um, you know,
Hey, show the people who you are,
but
man,
yeah,
because
if
it's
there's
real
like a
shit.
more,
Positive
positive,
support system.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I feel like we all go through stuff. I remember at one point in time, story time, story time. At one point in time where I used to write everything in a journal and post it on my wall, right? And I know that could not be normal, but at the time that was my mental state. So that's how I would say mental health is really real for the simple fact that if you're not thinking before you act, that's one part of being impulsive. You feel me? And that's probably one of my worst traits that I've always had. I've always been impulsive. You see what I'm saying? So it's very important to be able to control your emotions and then organize yourself, cabinet everything. And that's what I feel. How do you guys feel? You got another question? Uh, Journaling is very helpful for reflecting on absolute. And you know what? I write everything down, but I don't journal my feelings a lot. So I appreciate that insight because that's what I need to start doing more is journaling. Like, oh, what I went through today, how I felt, what made me feel like this. You know, my ADHD be having me everywhere though. So bear with me, but I appreciate that insight. I'm definitely going to take that into account. What else? What else? Affirmations. How important do you guys believe in self affirmations and saying them to yourself? I do this every morning, and then I be having my little negative thoughts, but they cannot stop me because of these affirmations. At the end of the day, though, I meditate on that word, and then I say all the stuff that I know, not that I think, that I know. And my day, oh, look at that little helicopter, y'all. Hey, it's beautiful out here. And that day, it be good. All right, y'all. Well, we talked for 30 minutes, and I appreciate y'all support. Drop a comment, drop a like, please subscribe, and I'll be back at you guys tomorrow. I love y'all. We out.